Welcome, everyone, to Diversified, where our mission is to have you live in a life filled with wealth, health, and happiness. Speaking of which, today we have a very special guest. As you can see in her name, the girl named Stephen Gwinnett. Stephen is a highly esteemed expert in the field of health and wellness with over 20 years of experience and a master's degree in exercise psychology. Through our company, Grow Wealthy, Stephen works with financial professionals, their firms, and their clients, helping them create a game plan that applies sound financial principles to their pursuit of health. Thanks for joining us today, Stephen.
Thank you so much for having me, Andrew.
Absolutely. So tell me about that last sentence I said. So you help people create a game plan that applies sound financial principles to their pursuit of health. How does that work? What does that mean?
So, we all know that having a financial plan is important because you need to make little incremental steps. You need to make sure you protect your assets for the future. All of those concepts in finances really do skill transfer rather easily over to your other asset, which is your health. And my dad was a financial advisor for 32 years. I've been an exercise physiologist for 20 years plus. And I had an aha moment about maybe 8 years ago where I was like, oh my gosh, this intersection of health and wealth is more than a cliche. There are so many parallels between being successful financially and being successful with your health. And as you approach your retirement, like if you don't have one of those, you're going to be derailed. You need both of them. And so that's why they're both so important from a long-term perspective.
For sure. And we throw in there the happiness because to us that's the magic sort of triangle. You're right. You can't have it's great if you're wealthy and healthy, if you're miserable, if you're happy and have no health. I mean, it's all sort of intertwined. So totally get it. So
Yeah.
I was doing a little research on my friend Stephen here, and it looks like you did a pretty cool study that I'd love for you to expound upon, which is about the as people get older, what would they rather have, right? And I think that was a really neat aha moment that I really like because I write about this type of stuff all the time in my blogs. But talk about this study. If you, I'm sure you know the one I'm referring to.
Yeah, absolutely. So the study was annuity.org, and they looked at baby boomers and asked them, what if you could go back and do it all again? What would you try to get more of in life as you prepare for retirement? And hands down, 71% or something like that said that they would go back and pursue more health. And and then after that came other things like love and then finances and career and accolades and other things. But health was by far the number one. And what's interesting is I redid this study on my own when I was delivering a talk to a bunch of a few financial advisors and their clients, and we had maybe 100, 130 people on this call. And I asked them the same question. I said, and I didn't give them the results first. I said, what would you choose if you could go back and do it again? And they chose the same thing. They chose health first. So it just proves that this thing that we value so much is important enough to put a little bit of effort and strategic planning behind it, because it doesn't just stick around if we don't work on it. We actually need to have, some goals, some metrics that we track, and treat it more like an asset than just something that will always be, because it won't.
Right. I love it because all the time when I talk to clients, I make the reverse analogy. Treat your finances like your health, right? It's your financial health, and you've kind of gone the other way. Treat your health
Right.
like your finances. And I love that. So it's a great study.
Yeah.
So people resounding, and which seems intuitive to me, a resounding yes to would much rather have unlimited health in their older years than unlimited wealth.
Yeah. And in fact, about maybe it was a year ago, I did a study, a poll on LinkedIn, and I asked everybody if you could have unlimited perfect health for all of the days of your life or unlimited wealth for all the days of your life, which one do you think they chose?
It would imagine health all day long, right?
Right. You just can't buy health. And I've got some very, very wealthy people that I work with who are bankrupt in their health, and we are working to fix that so that they don't have a retirement that is only for spending all the money that they made on their sick care, right? They want to spend it on the fun things and enjoy their life. The interesting thing about our health is that it's an asset all by itself, like it's a valuable thing all by itself, but it also dictates where we spend our other assets, where we
Sure.
spend our money, fun or sick care.
Yeah,
And I think
totally.
for quality of life, it's a no-brainer, right?
Oh, for sure. And it's funny, it really resonates with me because anytime I get sick, I'm such a baby, sick, a backache, a cold, I think to myself, boy, if this went forever, I'd be miserable. I would pay all the money in the world. I have friends that are back doctors. Like, you know why you do so well? Because I would empty my bank account to fix this back issue if I've had something wrong. Like, there is no wealth that would stop me from living a perfectly healthy life, as you stated. So
Right. And there's a saying, and I kind of think it's partially mostly true, is that a healthy person has a million dreams and a sick person has one.
I love that.
Because everything falls into perspective as soon as the heart attack happens or the diagnosis happens or whatever, the back pain happens. You're just like, nothing else matters. We've got to fix this.
Totally. I love that saying. That's great. Uh, so okay, so let's talk about how you actually engage and physically and mentally help individuals. So who's your target market, and then what does that look like to cure to put a plan in place for this for your sort of pursuit of health program?
Right. My initial clients are people who are financially minded. Most of them are financial professionals, and we basically create what I have called the wealth plan. And it's a play on words, WELL for wellness, but it's a wealth plan. And we take 6 weeks and we go through and we collect all the data because data tells a story, tells you where you are, not where you're trying to be. It's a very realistic, eye-opening experience. And then we create a plan moving forward. And then after that, as you know, in the financial space, behaviors are the second piece of that. So you've got the plan in place. How do you correct the behaviors? And that's where we go into it's called the Wealth Club. And that just basically is a group of people who are working together to make sure that they're on the same path and being encouraged like a safety net to get the stuff done. And when we start to apply it with long-term goals, I always tell people, think of yourself as 88-year-old you in the future. What is 88-year-old you going to do? This thing that you're working on right now, can you see yourself doing it when you're 88 years old? And if you can't, that's maybe a short-term goal, but it's not something that we want to make part of your regular behavior. So walking, getting up and down off the floor, eating great nutrition, all these things that are the low-hanging fruit, those are the things we work on first and get a baseline. It's almost like someone coming into your office and going, how do I get rich quick?
Right, right, right.
What's the best stock to buy when they don't have any emergency fund or any basics that are there? So we just work through a pyramid. And if you can imagine with me, a pyramid, like a hierarchy, I call it a hierarchy of wealth. You start at the bottom and it's all about how you think. First, you're be aware, and then you get curious about what would it be like to change something. Then you go to the next level and you say, okay, how well am I recovering from my daily stressors? Am I getting enough sleep? Am I dealing with my stress? Am I whatever, taking care of those recovery pieces? And after age 40, it's a big deal. Like you should spend at least half your time doing that. And then you go to the third layer. There are 4 layers in this pyramid. And that's, am I getting enough nutrition? And there's this app called the Daily Dozen. It's free. And you can go in there and see if you're getting enough good nutrition. You just check these boxes if you've had those today. And it's really fun. It's not like, don't eat the cookie. It's, did you get enough cruciferous vegetables? So it's like, your broccolis or your cauliflowers or whatever into your day.
Sure.
And then once you've got good nutrition, you've got the building blocks to then stress the system a little bit, start exercising and build, your longevity profile, which is your muscle essentially. So when you work it that way, you actually begin to see change versus I need to get healthy, so I'm going to join the gym and I'm going to go on a diet. Those
Right.
never work. You have to start at the bottom and work your way up.
No, I love that. It's changing, like you said, it's changing behavior. I mean, you see yo-yo diets, right? People lose
Yeah.
weight. I mean, I know people do a milk diet and drink nothing but milk for a month, or starvation diet. And I've kind of laughed to myself thinking, maybe it's get rich quick type of mentality, but hey, you're never going to eat food again. That's your plan. I mean, it's not sustainable. So it
Yeah,
sounds.
I have a recent, oh, I was just gonna tell you a quick story. I have a
Yeah,
recent
please.
story of a financial advisor actually who came to me and he's like, Stephen, I have no problem losing weight. I just can't keep it lost. I keep finding it again. And he's done keto at least 3 times and lost 30 to 50 pounds each time. And you're like, okay, well, that's not our goal here is weight loss. It's sustained
Right.
ideal body weight over time. And that takes thinking changes. And so I always tell people if you want to get healthy, you know that book, I think it's Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
the same. It's think and grow healthy or wealthy, as I would say. Like
yeah.
change the way your thought processes happen, and then you actually will begin to plant seeds for a healthier future.
All right. So two more questions for you. Then I want you to tell everyone how they can get in touch and learn more. So one is, what is the most common misconception people have about their wealth, if you will?
Yeah. Most common misconception is that they're good all day long. They've been good all day long, and then they can treat themselves at night, and they think that that's okay. When what we do at first is we go in and we fix their breakfast. It's the breakfast fix. And that's making sure they get enough calories with their first meal of the day. Honestly, Andrew, I don't care what time of day it is, but when you break your fast, that's the most important time of day. And we get enough fiber, enough protein, and enough calories. People are notorious for like grabbing a banana or a granola bar and running out the door with a cup of coffee. That gets you behind. Yeah, you're not alone. That gets you behind the calories. Have you ever been like maybe had a surgery or you had some pain medicines you were on and you get behind the pain and it's so hard to catch back up and get ahead of that again? With your health, it's kind of the same way. If you get behind calories, you end up overeating and making really poor choices at night. And the really crazy thing, Andrew, is that your body processes food at the end of the day very differently than it does in the middle of the day. And so even if you have the same meal late at night versus earlier in the day, your body is going to treat it very differently and put more of it into storage and fat. So we try to fix those nuances of the rhythm of the day first. And that helps people realize that I don't have to have willpower. If I feed myself well enough earlier, then it's a non-issue later in the day.
Got it. Okay, so the last question is kind of add on to that, which is, I always like to ask everyone I interview, what is your one tip that someone will remember, you want everyone watching this, listening to this, to remember, to take with them, that can impact their lives?
Walk more, worry less.
I love it.
If you can do that, if you could just get up after this, you listen to this and just take a 2-minute walk around the house or walk and get the mail or whatever, walk more and then try not to worry about the things that you don't have control over. And I say that really for 2 reasons. One is that when you walk more, you control your blood sugar, and blood sugar is the root cause of diabetes, fatty liver disease, cardiovascular disease, cancer, like all kinds of stuff stems from that one thing. And if you can walk, you can burn off some of that blood sugar. But number 2 is the worry. It spikes your cortisol, and cortisol it screws up your sugars as well. And then it makes you store more body fat. So like if you can just walk more and learn how to like just let things pass, breathing techniques, whatever, walk more, worry less. That's my mantra.
I love it. You give so many good tidbits here, Stephen. So tell everyone how they can learn more about what you do, get in touch. I mean, of course, we'll share it below, but plug how people can do so with you.
Yeah, definitely. Go to my website, growwealthy.com. And Grow Wealthy has 2 W's in the middle, WELLTHY, growwealthy.com. And there's a little mini assessment on there. You can see how you're doing. It takes like 2 minutes to take it, and it'll give you a score 0 to 100, which is always fun, right? We want to know how we're doing.
Yeah.
After that, sign up for my newsletter. It's on there. It's called Well Advised, and I give monthly information on that. And I'm always on LinkedIn with free tips and tricks and ideas. So follow me on LinkedIn at The Girl Named Steven.
Awesome. Again, we'll share all that below. So what a pleasure. You're so charming. Thank you so much, Steven, for joining us. I know my audience here will really appreciate it, and we'll get glean some good tips, and hopefully be in touch if they think they can help, or you can help. And I love it. So
All right. Awesome.
awesome. So as always, I'm Andrew Rosen, president of Diversify. Stay wealthy, stay healthy, and stay happy. Take care.